midterms are the neck, the thorax, and the lungs. So we will discuss first the thorax and the lungs. If hindi clear from the back, pwedeng sigurong patay yung lights. But if okay naman, sige. Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Jessica Catalan Legarda. So I'm a pulmonary doctor. So what are the learning objectives? So at the end of this lecture, learners should be able to identify the following. So review the anatomy of the thorax and the lungs. We discuss the examination techniques. So sa respiratory system, we will use the 4 examination techniques: inspection, palpation, percussion, and auscultation. Next would be symptomatology. So the subjective findings. So whenever you have a patient consulting you at the clinic, what are the complaints, no? Common complaints pertaining to the respiratory system. And the associated diseases with their corresponding findings. So at the end of this lecture, learners should be able to demonstrate the skill in performing a complete physical examination, identify the physical findings of the thorax and lungs, record in a standard format. Okay, so meron tayong standard format, no, that we use. And of course, with your history, with your PE findings, you have to analyze. So correlate everything to come up with a clinical diagnosis. So this will be the outline of our discussion. So review the anatomic structures, discuss the subjective data and the differentials. So yan yung mga most common symptoms, no? And discuss the objective findings. So in IPD, so nung first year kayo, you discuss the normal findings. So sa second year, you have to know the abnormal findings. So let's discuss the anatomy. So the thoracic cage or the cavity, its shape is bony, conical shape, and narrow at the top border. So as you can see, you have the sternum. So it has 3 parts, so the manubrium, body, and the xiphoid process. And then there are 12 pairs of ribs. So first 7 attached to the sternum. Ribs 8, 9, 10 are attached to the costal cartilage above, whereas ribs 11 and 12 are floating ribs. Then you have 12 thoracic vertebra and the diaphragm, which serves as the floor of the abdomen and the thoracic cavity. So it divides both, no, compartment. So that if a patient has a big abdomen or an enlarged abdomen, so it's very difficult for the patient to inhale or exhale. Okay, so hindi maka-push downwards ang diaphragm. Okay, so what are the anterior thoracic landmarks? So you have the suprasternal notch. It is a U-shaped depression. So as you can see in that picture, you have under the sternum, you have the 3 parts, so manubrium, body, and the xiphoid process. And you have this angle of Louis, okay, which is the junction. So junction with of the second rib, so continues with the second rib. So what is the importance of locating the angle of Louis? So we locate it since we want to know kung nasan yung second intercostal space, right? So yun yung reference line natin to palpate for the intercostal spaces. So also we have the costal angle. So it is usually 90 degrees or less, but it increases when the rib cage is chronically overinflated. So this is your costal angle. So usually it's less than 90 degrees. But if you have exacerbations such as asthma attack or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, what's the tendency? Merong air trapping inside, no? So chronically hyperinflated ang lungs. So pag maraming hangin inside, nagiging widened ang thoracic cavity. So, nag-i-increase ang costal angle. So, for chronically hyperinflated lungs. Posterior thoracic landmarks, you have the vertebra prominence, that's C7, spinous processes, scapula, and the 12th rib. So aside from the landmarks, you have reference lines. So these are imaginary lines. So why is it necessary to have these reference lines? So we use these as reference to locate organs. We use this mid-clavicular to locate the liver, to measure the liver span. What else? Mid-clavicular line to locate the apex beat. So, this helps us to locate each organ and measure the organs. Okay, so liver, cardiac, apex beat, what else? Spleen. And kung may mga lesions, skin lesions. Okay, so anterior chest, you have mid-sternal and mid-clavicular. Posteriorly, you have vertebral and scapular. And lateral, anterior, posterior, and mid-axillary. So why is it necessary to divide it into three, yung axilla? Ba't di na lang mid-axillary? Basically, maraming structures and we want to locate yung definite location. No? So for example, lymph nodes, axillary lymph nodes. So it may be located sa anterior, posterior, mid. Splenic, usually sa anterior. Okay. So saan tayo procedure sa lungs if there is pleural effusion? So usually we identify it posterior axillary line. So next structure is the thoracic cavity. So picture your chest as like this, no? Pag hinati siya sa gitna. So you have your right lung, left lung. In the middle lies the mediastinum. Okay, so middle of the thoracic cavity, which contains the following. So you have the esophagus, the trachea, the heart, and the great vessels. So as you can see, it's a large potential space. So that when you have a mass in the mediastinum, kailangan malaki yun to cause an effect. Okay, because of the large space. And it depends on the location of the mass kung ano yung symptoms na ma-feel ng patient or i-complain ng patient. So for example, the mass lies in the middle mediastinum. So possible compressive effects sa heart. So patient will complain of chest pain, more of chest pain. So what if the mass is located above the vessels in the aorta, no? Or the vein. So probably the symptoms will be more of circulatory. Baka marami kayong makikitang spider angiomas. So what if the mass is located anteriorly? It may compress your trachea. So the symptom of that patient would be shortness of breath. Or if it compresses your esophagus, the symptom would be dysphagia. So it depends on the location of the mass. Next structure is the pleural cavity. So it is the lining of the lungs. So pleural cavity. Okay? So orient yourself. And then the right lung has 3 lobes, whereas the left lung has 2 lobes. So lung borders. So again, these are imaginary borders. So anteriorly, the apex is 3 to 4 centimeters above the inner 1/3 of the clavicles, and the base of the lungs rests on the diaphragm at the level of 6th rib. So anteriorly, as you can see, you can still auscultate above the clavicle. Okay, and as low as the 6th rib. And then posteriorly, It extends from the axilla down to the 7th to posterior to 8th rib. And then laterally, so lateral. Posterior is apex of the lung at C7. Then as low as T10. So, but on deep inspiration or deep inhalation, it can go down to as low as T12. So, those are the lung borders. So, alam mo kung saan ka mag-auscultate. So, next, we discuss the pulmonary symptoms. So, what are the most common pulmonary symptoms pertaining to the respiratory system? One common complaint is chest pain. So remember that chest pain is not specific for cardiac problem only, no? So pwede siyang extra cardiac. So one would be coming from the respiratory system and other extra thoracic structures. So a condition that may present with chest pain is tracheobronchitis. So by the term tracheobronchitis, the inflammation comes from the trachea and the large bronchi. So usually ang location, saan? So upper sternal on either side of the sternum. May problema tayo. Okay, so kung mag-usap kayo sa labas, ha? And then usually, the pain is burning in character, that is mild to moderate, and is variable in usually variable, so hindi siya persistent. Okay, so factors that aggravate the chest pain from tracheobronchitis is coughing, and factors that relieve usually when the patient lies on the involved side. So for example, a patient coming into your clinic complaining of cough, hindi, nagko-complain din siya ng chest pain. So usually, the chest pain is being described as burning on the side of sternum. So sternum. So that can be your differential diagnosis, tracheobronchitis. Other differential diagnosis of chest pain would be the following. Okay, so what are the possible sources of chest pain? So if you have problems sa myocardium, so sa heart, so the following diagnoses are angina pectoris, myocardial infarction, and myocarditis. Ang pericardium naman, which is your covering, so probably baka patient is having viral pericarditis. As for aorta, if the patient has dissecting aortic aneurysm. So usually, the characteristic chest pain of this is nagra-radiate sa back. So chest pain that radiates at the back is dissecting aortic aneurysm. So as discussed earlier, we also have bronchitis, no? Or tracheobronchitis. Another would be from the parietal pleura. So remember, the pleura is the outer covering of your lungs, right? So any condition targeting that would mimic chest pain. So pericarditis, pneumonia, pneumothorax, and pleural effusion. So pneumothorax is air in the pleural cavity, whereas pleural effusion is water in the pleural cavity. So remember, so kanina pleural cavity, wala dapat air sa pleural, right? Dapat nasa parenchyma siya sa lungs. So wala din dapat water. Okay, so when you have those, it's a disease, no? It's a pathology. So another cause of chest pain would be if you have diseases from the chest wall itself. So ano yun? Yung common complaint, costochondritis, right? So inflammation of the bones and muscles. So for example, may physical exercise or physical sport na strain yung muscle. So it can cause chest pain as well. Herpes zoster or shingles, no? So it's very painful. But the pain usually is very subtle lang, no? Sa skin, sa bone. Next is esophagus. Okay, so any condition from the esophagus may also mimic chest pain. So if you have reflux, so pwede, esophageal spasm and tear can also present with chest pain. Other structures, so extrathoracic structure, may present with chest pain. So such as sa neck, so if the patient has cervical arthritis, so masakit yan, especially among the elderly. Biliary colic, so if the patient has gallstones, so pwedeng mag-present ng chest pain. And if the patient has gastritis. Next symptom is pleuritic pain. So it's different from chest pain. Okay, so what's the pathology in pleuritic pain? There is inflammation of the parietal pleura. So as in the case of pleurisy, so if there is reaction, pneumonia, pleural infarction, or a neoplasm. So for example, you have a tumor, a lung mass, near the parietal pleura. It can cause pleuritic pain. So the location is sa chest wall lang. And the quality of the pain is sharp and knife-like. So para siyang tinutusok. That is often severe and persistent. Okay, so factors that aggravate this pain is through deep inspiration, through coughing, and movements of the trunk. So usually persistent yan, hindi nawawala. So nalilesen lang with pain reliever. So that's pleuritic pain. Next symptom is difficulty of breathing. So again, difficulty of breathing is not exclusive for respiratory diseases. Pwede rin siya sa cardiac na, pwede rin siya sa hyperventilation. Okay, so one differential would be left-sided heart failure. So what's the pathology in heart failure? So there is elevated pressure in the pulmonary capillary bed with transudation of fluid into the interstitial spaces and the alveoli. So meaning, instead of air-filled ang alveoli, it will now be fluid-filled because of the heart failure. Okay, so once your alveolar are flooded with fluid, there will be stiffness of the lungs. Okay, hence the increased work of breathing. So hingal na hingal si patient because he cannot take in air. Okay, so timing, it may progress slowly or suddenly or abruptly. And factors that aggravate, usually upon exertion or upon lying down. So most patients would complain of parang nalulunod kapag naka-lie down or naka-supine position. And factors that relieve, so upon resting and sitting up. So this cases or these patients usually are relieved kapag 3-pillow. Nagamit sila ng 3-pillow, no? Kapag natutulog. So, they are orthopnic, they present with cough, paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, and sometimes cardiac wheezing. So, you will only think of this case if the patient has a history of heart disease. So, in the proper setting. So for example, a patient coming to your clinic with a known heart disease, suddenly complaining of difficulty of breathing. Okay, then you can think of a possible heart failure. Next is chronic bronchitis. So chronic bronchitis may present with difficulty of breathing. How? So the pathology in chronic bronchitis is the presence of excessive mucus production in the bronchi. So if you have excessive mucus production, it may obstruct the airways. Okay, so this will present as chronic obstruction of the airway. So hingal ang patient. Okay, hindi makapasok ang hangin. So timing is chronic, the presence of chronic productive cough followed slowly by progressive dyspnea. So factors that aggravate are exertion. So if there's exposure to an inhaled irritant causing production of excessive mucus and the presence of respiratory infection. Okay, so it may produce excessive mucus or phlegm. Of course, factors that relieve are, so if you rest and if you're able to expectorate the excessive mucus. So what are the associated symptoms? So chronic productive cough, recurrent respiratory infection, and a possible wheezing. Of course, you only think of chronic bronchitis if the patient has a history of smoking, a history of vaping, exposure to air pollutants, and those with recurrent respiratory infections. So yun, history of smoking and especially vaping, mas early onset ang vaping, no? Next is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or emphysema. Okay, so that's chronic bronchitis and chronic, next naman is COPD. So what's the pathology in COPD? Bakit nagkakaroon ng difficulty of breathing? So over time, no, there is over-distension of air spaces to terminal distal bronchioles with destruction of the alveolar septa and chronic obstruction of airway. So destruction means irreversible destruction. Nag-yosi ka ilang taon, no? O kaya nag-vape ka. So eventually, usually the age of onset is at 40 years of age. But for vape, we've seen that after 2 years, hingal na yung patient, no? After 6 months, meron pa nga. Okay, so sa cigarette smoking, medyo matagal. So there is irreversible destruction of alveolar septa, eventually leading to chronic obstruction of airways. So timing is slowly progressive dyspnea, and there is a relatively mild cough. So aggravated by exertion and relieved by rest. And usually the associated symptoms usually may cough with scant mucoid sputum. And in the setting of history of smoking or vaping, exposure to air pollutants, so hindi naman exclusive sa smokers to. Usually, traffic enforcers or street sweepers na exposed sa environmental air pollutants, they are also prone to COPD. O kaya yung mga, pag female naman, yung nagsisiga, nagluluto, no? Through wood. Okay, so also some or konting portion hereditary. So familial deficiency in alpha-1 antitrypsin. So hindi siya exclusive for males. Another airway obstructive disease is bronchial asthma. Okay, but what is they are both obstructive airways disease, but the difference of asthma from chronic COPD is reversible siya. Okay? So, what is the pathology in asthma? There is bronchial hyperresponsiveness involving the release of inflammatory mediators, increasing airway secretions, and bronchoconstriction. So, kanina sa COPD, it's more of secretions or mucus production. In asthma, aside from increased airway secretions, there is bronchospasm or bronchoconstriction, which is readily reversible. Okay. So, why nagkaka-attack in asthma? It's because of an exposure to an allergen. So, asthmatics, there are different allergen for asthmatics. So, hindi naman lahat allergic ka. Okay? But once you are allergic to that, you may develop exacerbations or attacks. So, symptoms associated are wheezing, cough, and tightness in chest. Again, in the setting of an exposure to an environmental allergen or emotional conditions, aggravated by emotional condition. It can also be a trigger. So, tumawa nga lang yung isang asthmatic, no? Nagka-atake na. So, how much more other mga anxiety and stressful conditions, pwede ding mag-cause ng attacks. Okay, so the last three diseases that I have discussed are mostly airway problems. Okay, yung daanan ng hangin, right? Okay. The next diseases that I will discuss will now be diseases of the lung parenchyma, yung mismong lungs or baga. Okay, so first disease is interstitial lung diseases. So what's the abnormality here? There is abnormal and widespread infiltration of cells, fluid, and collagen into the interstitial space. So, yung lungs mismo, nagiging rubberized na. Okay? So, it is now filled with collagen. Timing is progressive since over the years doon siya mag-progress. And factors that aggravate is exertion and is relieved by rest. So, usually, cough is less common. What is pertinent is difficulty of breathing. Next parenchymal disease is pneumonia. So this is a wastebasket diagnosis, no? It's a common diagnosis here. The process is inflammation or infection of the lung parenchyma. So from the respiratory bronchioles to the alveoli. And it is an acute illness. So less than 7 days, onset of cough, pleuritic pain, chest pain, difficulty of breathing, sputum, fever. So ang working impression mo would be a possible pneumonia. So you have to work up your patient. So that's for the lung parenchyma. So now we go to the thoracic cavity, so which is pneumothorax. So what is spontaneous pneumothorax? So spontaneous, wala kang ginawa, bigla nilang nag-appear. So there is leakage of air into the pleural space through bleps on visceral pleura with resulting partial or complete collapse of the lung. So there is air into the pleural cavity. So the timing usually is sudden onset of difficulty of breathing. So for example, nakaupo ka lang dyan, bigla kang nahirapang huminga without doing anything. So you complain of difficulty of breathing, pleuritic pain, and dry cough. So the setting is often a previously healthy adult. So but what is the difference between the next diagnosis? Pareho namang sudden of onset of difficulty of breathing. In acute pulmonary embolism, the setting would be postpartum, post-operative period, so yung mga inoperahan, okay. Those who are bedridden, may congestive heart failure, chronic lung disease. So meaning importante ang pag-history taking. Okay? So the pathology in acute pulmonary embolism is an occlusion of all or part of the pulmonary artery tree by a blood clot that usually originates in the deep vein of legs or pelvis. So obstruction of the artery by a blood clot. Whereas this one, introduction of air into the pleural cavity. So magkaiba sila ng pathologic process, but hindi mo siya malalaman kung hindi ka mag-history and mag-PPE sa patient. Okay? Next diagnosis would be anxiety with hyperventilation. So this one results from overbreathing with resultant respiratory alkalosis and fall in the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the blood. So usually it's episodic and often recurrent. So pabalik-balik, no? So more often occur at rest than after exercise. So usually, to relieve it, you have to instruct the patient to breathe in and out of a paper bag or a brown bag. And then, the associated symptoms are sighing, lightheadedness, and numbling and tingling of the hands and feet. Okay, so that's, it is actually, pag normal lahat ng labs mo, then you can have this as your diagnosis. So anxiety with hyperventilation. So that's for difficulty of breathing. So what about if the patient complains of cough and hemoptysis? Okay, so the most common complaint pertaining to the respiratory system is cough, di ba? Inuubo ako. So, or I'm having cough for 1 week, for how many days, for months, or for years, no? So, depende yun sa timeline. And also, hemoptysis. So, when you say hemoptysis, it's coughing out of blood, not vomiting of blood. So, you have to ask that to the patient. Inuubo po ba kayo ng dugo? O nagsusuka kayo ng dugo? So, that's different. Okay, so under cough and hemoptysis, we have conditions under acute inflammation and chronic inflammation. So what are the following diseases under acute inflammation? So laryngitis, so it may present with cough, no? So kung ang problem lang dito sa lalamunan, di ba, inuubo pa rin. Okay, tracheobronchitis as well. So if you have viral illness with burning and retrosternal discomfort, so inuubo pa yung patient. And then also, kapag may pneumonia, whether it's bacterial or viral, it may present with productive cough. As for chronic inflammation, so what are the diseases under chronic inflammation? If the patient has postnasal drip, no? So, may allergic rhinitis ka, araw-araw tuwing umaga, sinisipon. And during the day, wala na yung sipon. Okay. That allergy, no? Usually, nagkakaroon ng irritation sa throat. So, there is repeated attempts to clear the throat. Makati, no? Sometimes, nagkakos din yun ng ubo. So, chronic cough. Chronic bronchitis, so we've discussed this already. So, it may present with chronic cough, with purulent sputum, and sometimes with blood-streaked sputum. Another condition is bronchiectasis, so it may present with chronic cough, with foul-smelling sputum, and sometimes with blood. So in bronchiectasis, there is recurrent infection. Okay, so that's why nagkakaroon ng chronic cough and purulent sputum. TB, okay, sa third year niya, you will be introduced in this disease. So that's pulmonary tuberculosis. Usually, it presents with dry cough. And sa late stage, it may present with hemoptysis. Okay, but the associated symptoms usually are classic TB findings, no? So, fever, night sweats, weight loss, fatigue, and anorexia. So other diseases under chronic inflammation is if the patient has lung abscess. So when you say lung abscess, it's nana sa baga, no? So patient will have a foul-smelling sputum and may present with productive cough and hemoptysis. So this is common among patients with poor dental hygiene. So maraming dental caries, no? Okay. Next is asthma. So in asthma, you may present with cough with mucoid or sputum production. That is usually associated with an exposure to a known allergen. Variable symptoms depending on exposure to an allergen. And then gastroesophageal reflux, so it may present with chronic cough at night or especially in the morning. So why? So kapag naka-lie down supine yung patient, no, and then maraming kinain, so possible nagre-reflux yung acid. Okay, so there may be wheezing at night and early morning hoarseness. Or neoplasm, so for lung cancer, of course, it may present with dry cough and hemoptysis. So heart failure also. So in heart failure, if you have pulmonary edema or increased fluids in the lungs, so it may cause hemoptysis. Same with pulmonary emboli. So it may present with productive cough and hemoptysis. And also with chronic exposure to irritating particles, chemicals, or gases. So kapag chronically exposed ka, no? So it may present with chronic cough and hemoptysis. So far, that's the symptoms pertaining to the respiratory system. So first, we discussed chest pain. Next is pleuritic pain. So difficulty of breathing, cough, and hemoptysis. So now let's go to the objective data, no? So anong gagawin ng physician sa patient na nasa clinic niya? So you have to confirm through doing a complete physical examination. So first is inspection. So inspection we assess the shape of the chest and how the chest moves. So you check for deformities. Pag humihinga, you check kung symmetric yung chest expansion. You observe if there is an abnormal retraction of the interspaces during inspiration. And of course, you observe the respiratory movement. So, dapat in 2 to 5 minutes, you will be able to inspect the chest of the patient. Anteriorly, laterally, and posteriorly. Okay? Hindi lang sa harap. Okay. So, also inspect for any skin lesions. So, the normal chest, so thorax is wider than its depth. And lateral diameter is larger than antero-posterior diameter. In a barrel chest, there is an increased antero-posterior diameter. So, mas increase yung AP, no? So, this shape is normal during infancy and elderly people. So, but it's pathologic, no? You can see this in COPD patients because of chronically hyperinflated lungs. What about traumatic flared chest? So this results from multiple rib fractures. So when you inspire, ideally the chest wall caves outward dapat, diba? So hingang malalim, inspire, expire. So it's the opposite kapag merong area of traumatized area, or may rib fracture. So the injured area caves inward on inspiration, while it moves outward on expiration. Funnel chest is pectus excavatum. There is depression in the lower portion of the sternum. Hence, it can compress the heart and the great vessels. But usually, these are deformities naman since pinanganak, diba? Since at birth. So usually, nag-a-adjust naman yung location ng heart and great vessels, no? Okay. Unless severely deformed. Pigeon chest is pectus carinatum, where the sternum is displaced anteriorly, increasing the antero-posterior diameter. So the costal cartilages adjacent to the protruding sternum are depressed. And thoracic kyphoscoliosis is an abnormal spinal curvatures in vertebral rotation, which may deform the chest. So imagine a patient ganito. So what now would be your findings? So possibly sa right, increase ang breath sounds. Okay? Possibly sa left, decrease ang breath sounds or absent breath sounds, di maka-expand, no? Because of the deformity. But it doesn't mean may abnormality or may sakit yung lungs niya. So the distortion of the underlying lungs may make interpretation of lung findings very difficult. So pag ganyan, you lie down sa symptoms, of course, ng patient. So what's the normal respiratory rate? So it's actually 12 bumaba na 12 to 20 per minute in normal adults, and in infants, it's up to 44. So now let's go to the different patterns of breathing. So tachypnea is the presence of rapid, shallow breathing. So this is manifested among patients with restrictive lung disease. So restrictive meaning may pneumothorax, may pleural effusion, or may pneumonia. So hindi maka-expand ang lung. So that's restrictive lung disease. Because the obstructive type of lung disease, ano yun? As we've discussed earlier, so that's asthma, COPD, and bronchitis. So for restrictive lung, it's rapid shallow breathing. If the patient complains of pleuritic chest pain, and if the patient has an elevated diaphragm. So rapid, mabilis, pero shallow. So that's a compensatory mechanism ng paghinga. Whereas hyperpnea is rapid, mabilis, but very deep breathing. So this is also called as hyperventilation. So physiologically, mag-exercise ka, mag-hyperpnea ka. Tama? If you are anxious, pwede. Diba? For conditions with having metabolic acidosis, yun yung mga patients na may sepsis, may severe infection, they may demonstrate with hyperpnea or rapid and deep breathing. Next is bradypnea or slow breathing. So this can be caused by a condition of the following. So diabetic coma, so taas ng sugar. Drug-induced respiratory depression. So what is the most common drug that can induce depression, respiratory depression? So, usually yan yung morphine, no? We use that as a palliative care sa mga cancer patients. So, morphine can induce respiratory depression. In condition that increases your intracranial pressure. So, a large cranial mass, a large hemorrhage, or an infection that increases your ICP can manifest bradypnea. So Kine-Stokes breathing, so that's fine. Kine-Stokes breathing is defined as periods of deep breathing alternating with periods of apnea. So when you say apnea, the patient is not breathing for more than 10 seconds. Usually children and aged people normally may show this pattern in sleep, especially among newborn, di ba? Halos wala pa silang pattern ng breathing yan. Okay, so other causes or pathologic causes of Kine-Stokes breathing are heart failure, uremic. So when you say uremia, mataas ang creatinine levels, di ba? So yun yung mga hindi pa nagdadialysis na patients. Okay, newly diagnosed uremic patients. Those with drug-induced respiratory depression and those with brain damage. In ataxic breathing is also called as Biot's breathing. So it is characterized by unpredictable irregularity. So wala nang pattern yung breathing niya. Breaths may be shallow or deep and stop for short periods. So this one, medyo mataas na yung level of damage, no? Brain damage typically at the medullary level. Probably comatose na yung patient at this time. Enzyme respiration. So breathing punctuated by frequent sighs should alert you to the possibility of hyperventilation. So but occasional sighs are normal. As we've discussed earlier, obstructive breathing. So the following 3 diseases may cause obstructive breathing. So asthma, chronic bronchitis, and COPD. OSA or obstructive sleep apnea may also cause unobstructive breathing. There are more of upper, dito na upper. Okay, ang problem ng obstructive sleep apnea. Okay, so in obstructive lung disease, expiration is prolonged because of the narrowed airways, so thereby increasing the resistance to airflow. Hence, when you auscultate a patient na COPD, na may COPD o kaya may asthma, may wheezing sila. Kasi maliit na lang yung diameter ng air, no? Entry of air. Okay, so we can stop here sa palpation. Just let me know na next meeting kung saan tayo nag-stop.